Hello everyone, and welcome back to Doomlink's Live Hunts. We are back in Monster Hunter Freedom 1. It has been some time since I last recorded this game. I don't want to sound like a broken record. I'm sure that I say that every single time I play this game. I'm not entirely sure if we can expect to be successful in this hunt. The guy that I'm playing with here wasn't even able to post the quest that he wanted. He literally couldn't do it. I don't blame him too much for that, because it is a little confusing, the way the quests work. And the reason being that they don't actually tell you what version of Rathalos you're fighting. We want to fight the red one because he wants to use, or rather wants to make, Rathalos S stuff. As you can see, I'm back on the webcam again. It is not ideal. The lighting is a bit uneven. I'm probably a little too illuminated in certain parts, but at the end of the day, this is what you're getting. It's better than it would have been if I was putting my webcam view on the screen prior to this point. So for those of you who are looking at this and going, this is the reason why you didn't show yourself? This looks fine, Doomlink. Well, no, it happens to be acceptable today, but it's not always going to be acceptable. That is what happens when you're relying on natural lighting. That's the situation. Yes, Generation 1 is quite different. I might have to actually lower my monitor volume. Like, in other words, my speakers. Bit too noisy. One way, of course, in which Generation 1 might differ to what you're familiar with, Wonderlord, is that there is no KO from this hammer, which is a little bit painful, but you get used to it. Once you get over the shock of realizing that almost what you would consider to be essential functionality, once you realize that that is not even present, you just get over it. Just lowering the volume of my speakers. It shouldn't affect your volume. In fact, it certainly won't. I don't know why I used the word shouldn't, because it doesn't sound very definite. It doesn't sound very convinced. I am convinced. Might just do the level 2 there. Oh, he's absolutely no comment. I realized far too late that I was not the target of that attack, and I very effectively positioned myself so as to get hit. So that was really unhelpful. Rathalos gear, I don't remember it being that good in this game, but that's what he wants to make, and I'm rendering assistance at this stage as best I can. I'm going non-elemental because I felt like using a hammer. You guys never see me use hammer, I do recognize this, so I thought it would be nice for me to actually bring it out for Freedom 1. But the lobster hammer, which is my only water hammer. Keeping in mind there is no ice element in this game, so your primary weakness for a standard Rathalos in 1st gen is in fact water. The lobster hammer is not particularly good. And I'm going 2-man here, so I want to make sure that I'm using the best possible weapons that I can. And this is a fairly high raw hammer. If you're familiar with inflated values, this is 1346 at blue sharpness, which is pretty reasonable. Quite hefty. I had no idea where you were, so there you are. I might, well, I'll lower the volume slightly, just because I'm particular like that. And I'm being assaulted in the meantime. Just leave me alone. I understand that you've recognized that I am the primary threat, but I'd ask for you to at least give me a moment to heal. Yeah, so I'm surprised you haven't picked up on this, P-Berry. I'm sure it's been discussed a few times in 1st and 2nd generation games that I've played. But the weaknesses for Rathalos did change quite drastically. In 1st generation, the primary weakness is water. In 2nd, it's ice. And then it changed to dragon/thunder in 3rd generation. So, pretty much from Monster Hunter 1 to Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, you would not really be using lightning, or rather thunder, or dragon, ideally. I think dragon might be slightly effective, but thunder is not, if I remember correctly. You're going to get closer to the old, or rather the weaknesses that you're familiar with, the 3rd gen weaknesses, when you encounter the subspecies. So Azure is primarily weak to Dragon, I believe, as is Pink Rathian. And then it's going to be Thunder for Silver and Gold. So that's the situation. The standard versions are not good with Thunder and Dragon. Which is a good thing, it just makes going back to the older games a little bit more fun, doesn't it? Because you're dealing with different elemental weaknesses, therefore you're using different kinds of weapons. And speaking of weapons, this one looks pretty cool when you fully charge it, now that I'm looking at it. Speaking of weapons. Yes, what an excellent segue into that topic of discussion. That observation that I chose to make in that moment. Well, they're still weak to water in these older games. I think in first and second generation they're equally weak to water and thunder. Whereas it's not, that's not the case in the later games. Or maybe, no, I'm thinking of Silver Rathalos. Silver Rathalos specifically is equally weak, but Gold is just, like, by a significant margin, primarily weak to thunder. What are you looking at? There's nothing over there. There's nothing in that direction, and there's nothing in that direction, so I don't know what you're looking at, man. Off he goes. Just watching where he's flying to. It's not around the world, he's actually leaving the area. In the older games, they don't fly so high up that you can barely see them. What a cutie. Possibly referring to me, with my terrible webcam setup. Yeah, Ethan just called me a cur, which is obviously incorrect spelling with 2 R's, but still, that's not the nicest compliment I've been paid today. Rathalow's still looking around for something. I probably should be using... Take that, arsehole. Ran into an exploding rock. Ugh. I'm doing everything in my power to paintball this monster. Got a Bullfango between us and the monster. You can get away. I might actually go and kill him. Seeing as though the Rathalos is, at this stage, not all that interested in coming after me. Never turn your back to a Rathalos, that is the moral of the story today. Oh, very good. And goodbye, Bullfango. I use that in the plural sense. We are bidding farewell to several Bullfango. 2 to be exact. Now we're getting around the world, it's just lovely. We get to watch him fly through solid objects, and eventually make some attempt to hit us, or not. That's not always guaranteed, I might mention. Lost track of him there, I was reading the chat. I'm just going to double check to make sure everything looks fine. Yeah, it's as good as it's going to look. As I said, you know, it's not... I'd say it's substandard, but just barely acceptable. Look at what he's doing. And now he actually is not going to perform an attack. He's now just flying back. He just had no desire to attack us in that moment. I think I explained it in the past as he spends so much time flying through the air that he actually forgets why he decided to start doing it in the first place, and then he just comes back and fights us as normal. This is becoming just absurd. I need to get rid of these Bullfango. But one thing that is really frustrating about first generation Monster Hunter is the sheer number of small monsters you have to deal with, and they spawn infinitely as well. Literally infinitely. So we just dispatched 2 Bullfango, and now I believe we're dealing with possibly 5. So that's not great. Sheathing my weapon there. I think I wouldn't quite say that these Bullfango Arixian are just existing. They're being a little bit more proactive than that. They're trying to make us cease to exist, actually. Yes, yes. At least you're attacking this time. It's a fucking procession of Bullfinger. I don't know if I want to tack an S on the end of that when I'm using the plural form. I'm still not really in agreement with myself about that. I make it sound as if I have these internal arguments. I suppose that wouldn't be an inaccurate description of how I try to make sense of these things. I don't even think it's worth doing the triple pound, and I've pretty much immediately been shown why that was a bad idea. Well, Peaberry believes that the plural is without an S, so I will take that on board. N10 gives a much better assessment of the situation. Bullfango out there being a cunt. Yes. That's what they do. Believe me, you'll see the unpleasantness of Bullfango on full display in this generation of Monster Hunter. They are never pleasant to deal with, but their unpleasantness is just unmatched in first generation. Keeping in mind this is the most relaxing the most relaxing experience you can expect to have in a first generation game. This particular one that I'm playing, Freedom 1. If I were to fire up the original Monster Hunter game, you're going to be seeing just pure misery in pixelated form. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, what's going on? Where did they go? Says the Rathalos. His fucking anorexic, elongated neck starts to stick out even further than normal. And he's limping. I'm not sure what weapon Saul is using. Obviously, we're familiar with the design. I presume that it's a raw greatsword, but I don't know what sort of damage he's dealing. It must be okay, because this monster's already limping, so... yeah. G-rank, 2-man. Not taking too much time at all. Admittedly, my hammer's good, but we also need to account for the fact that we have spent a lot of this hunt standing around waiting for this monster to actually do something. Are we going to get the thing where he sleeps in the middle? Let's try to avoid that. Come over here. When he goes to sleep on this island, you have to throw something at him to wake him up, and it's really annoying. Oh, he's fucking doing it. Is he going to go to sleep right in front of us? We're in combat with you, man. No. I don't have... look, I do have paintballs, but I don't know if they can reach. Get over here. What a great design, hey? I don't have anything to throw at you that's going to reach. I don't have throwing knives, that's for certain. Ugh. I'm doing my best. Got him. Why was my first throw so pathetic? Maybe if you're standing still, the throw is just sad, and then... Or just totally... the words have left my mind. But anyway, you just have this little pathetic throw if you're standing still, and then, if you're running, I think you get a better throw. That's why I was doing that. That was the strategy. Paintballs need a running start, as N10 confirms in the chat. Oh, I have actually been losing health, because I have not reapplied my cool drink. I feel like that was a little bit of a waste of a Mega Potion there. These things are precious. Don't breathe fire on me, please. Alright, turn around. No, you're not going to do that. You're instead going to waste our time by flying in the air, slowly turning around, and launching fireballs at the terrain instead of at us. Like, what is over there, man? He saw a small insect that bothered him. See, now what do I do? I'm going to have to wait for this guy to come back, because otherwise I'm going to run the risk of killing the Rathalos, and he's not going to be able to get his calves. The entire reason why we're doing this quest is so that he can get materials, so I'm not going to attack. until it looks like Saul is close enough to make it for the carbs. Although I can't really pass up this opportunity. Unless, of course, I completely fuck it up by pressing the wrong buttons on my controller. Speaking of controller, by the way, PS4 DualShock 4 controller. I have decided to go with that because, I mean, those of you who recall my conversation about DualShock 3, I realized it's just not worth the effort. It's too hard. So, what I'm using instead is a DualShock 4. Feels good to be able to comfortably play the game again. You're not going to hear me complaining about my controller until this thing gets stick drift, which could actually be next week, who knows. Of course, I say that in jest. If that does actually happen, I'm fucking returning it to my game shop. My local game shop where I purchased the thing. Don't interrupt my golf swing. Oh, looks like you didn't need to. I interrupted it all on my own by having green sharpness. I'm gonna stick these massive spikes in your head. Enjoy. The Rathalos did not like that. But yeah, the triple pound in this game is a little bit different. Just the animations and the timing of it. This just in, Doomlink doesn't have much stamina. Breaking news. Get away from that tail. Saul is probably like, why is it not dead yet? It's because I was waiting for you, mate. And there we go. I'm bringing up the menu, because I'm pressing the wrong buttons to skip the cutscene, which I do without fail every single time. Every single time. Bloody Vespoids. Now, is Vespoids the plural? Or is it Vespoid? Probably with an S, hey? Are we all in agreement with that? Honestly, who has the fucking time to work that out? I certainly don't. Beverage today, by the way, coffee. I don't drink it often, but my girlfriend does drink coffee, so I have it in the house. I usually don't have it in the house because I'm not a coffee drinker, but because it is readily available, I am drinking it. Don't worry, I'm not going to become a coffee drinker. This is instant coffee. Coffee drinkers don't drink instant coffee. They go, I'd like a cappuccino, please. Half oat milk, half skim milk, half shot, etc., etc. Fuck those people. Genuinely, I used to have to serve them back when I worked in hospitality. I'm sure they're lovely people. If they're, I don't know, your family member. But if you don't know them from a bar of soap, and you're fucking serving them, my god, you would quite gladly... well, let's not complete the sentence. I don't want to come off as some kind of reprobate, but seriously, I can't stand those fucking coffee drinking people. Not all of them are like that. I understand. But that's the image that I have in my head when I think of coffee drinkers. Oh, and the ones that ask for takeaway cups when they're sitting down at a restaurant, I want to hit them. I actually want to hit them. Not because they're, you know, harming the environment, which obviously is not that great either. It's just the fact that you... Anyway. I needn't expand upon that. Let's put away the stuff. I suspect that this guy's going to want to do more Rathalos because he wants to make the Rathalos armor. I think we're actually going to see a repeat of that live stream, which was almost exclusively Agnaktor. I really don't want that again, but we might have to. What I could probably say is give the guy a little nudge and say, I've helped you a bit, how about you help me with my stuff? When in actual fact, I don't need anything. I'm just going to want to do something that's not fucking Rathalos, you know. I'm happy to do a few, but we're not going to have another single monster livestream. That shit is annoying. What greatsword should I bring? I don't like bringing the Epitaph Blade because it's not the strongest weapon that I could be using, but it looks cool. Looks cool. I'll bring... I think I've got a water greatsword. Let's bring the Plesioth Azure Blade. That's a weapon. What? Double double. Never heard that. What? Ethan says that I don't have to worry about stick drift because I can use third-party software to increase the dead zone. Okay, I hadn't actually tried that, but... Or rather, I didn't even know that was an option. Sounds interesting. Just speeding up the eating, because you can't skip it in this game. I'm sure I've mentioned that many times before, and also demonstrated it, but I can't assume that everyone watching this has watched my other Freedom 1 recordings. What am I missing here? Oh, cool drinks. No, stop. Pressing all the wrong buttons as usual. Hey Beta, I haven't seen you... It almost feels like I haven't seen you this decade, but I'm sure I have at least once or twice. Welcome back. The webcam view's not permanently like this. Oh, I should mention, I did say that I was going to discuss this in more detail. Not much more detail, I'm not going to detain you all with my explanations about my webcam setup, because it is not really of any particular interest to you. Either it's there or it's not, and that's about all you need to know. But I will say that the electrician's coming in tomorrow to have a look at the light, to see why it's not fucking working, and then hopefully at that point it will be working, and then that's done. I will have a controlled lighting setup with which to provide to you crisp and clear Doomlink on webcam. In video. Live. Alright, more Rathalos. I cannot see him until he joins my quest, but I sense that Saul is standing there expectantly. Just waiting for me to post. The Phoenix is Vernon. He had life getting in the way. He came back briefly to give us an update on how his life's been going. He's got various health issues and other things. Physical and mental, I might add. So, that's the main reason why he's not around anymore. He may come back, we'll see. But, yeah, he was just one of my regular viewers, and because he played, I would play with him when he was around. But, yeah, he hasn't been doing so well. He's okay at the moment, I think, but well, at least when I was last given an update. So, yeah. I do wish him all the best. I can't really imagine a Dread King in Freedom 1. The best you can expect for particularly difficult versions of monsters in first generation and second generation is just to literally have a look exactly the same. And then it's just the event quest. I guess that's normal, isn't it? To have an event quest where there's a particular strong version. Or particularly strong version. But it largely looks the same. Obviously you've got monsters like One Ear, Garuga, and Demon King Diablos. I mean, think about it. Demon King Diablos. Sounds quite exciting, doesn't it? No, he's just missing a fucking horn. He looks normal. It's not very exciting at all. But, yeah. I don't really think there's any special kind of Rathalos in first gen. Not that I can think of. Saul is presumably AFK. Wouldn't it be funny if Metro, Zumbi... Well, actually I know that Metro and Jackal won't be joining. They're actually doing very low-level stuff. Let's see what Zumbini is doing. He is doing HR2 stuff. Seeing these guys at low hunter ranks reminds me that that's about my hunter rank in Monster Hunter 2. I do need to get back into that. I will at some point. I was a little bit displeased to find that there were very few low-level people when I last went to play online. Lots of people playing online. I might mention that... Saul, for Christ's sake, I don't want to overcomplicate this for you, but I'm posting a quest for your benefit, not for mine. For your benefit. You're the one who wants to make the armor set, so perhaps it would be in your favor to join the correct quest. Seriously, man. He's now readied up on someone else's quest. I'm helping this guy. Does he not realize that he's joined the wrong quest? Do I need to get my chat out again? I'm doing a live stream with you, man. Not that you know. But the effectiveness, or the fact that... No. That mission didn't unlock my armor. Oh, this guy is hurting my brain. Why are you doing that guy's quests and then leaving me in the lurch? What's that about? Saul, why are you joining them? They abandoned him anyway. They had no desire to even depart with him. He, rightly or wrongly, expressed an interest in hunting with them by joining up on the quest before. And they're like, no, we don't want to play with you. Maybe they're just worried about being carried through the early game. Well, that was very good of you, P-Berry, giving a gift sub to Beta. I just don't know what this guy's... I understand that what he's trying to do is unlock the armor. I didn't realize that. I thought that he was trying to get the materials to forge the armor. My guess is that it's not so much doing a quest to unlock the armor. It's getting the right materials to be able to forge it, because there are requisite materials to be able to see it in the forging list. They need to be in your inventory in order to forge it. So when this guy says this quest didn't unlock my armor, he's a little confused as to what he's saying. Or rather, his choice of words is confusing. And probably speaks to a confused mind. But anyway. Let's go again. Seriously, like, I'm trying to help him here. I'd better not open my network settings while we are loading the quest. I will be doing that just so I can remove the chat button from the screen. But, yeah. Hello, Palkia Dialga. Haven't seen you in a while either. Welcome back. I believe when I open this, it actually freezes the connection. So I definitely don't want to be doing that while we're loading the instance. That would be a very bad idea. Did I? Well, I think I did, you know. Sorted my stuff out. You can only bring a maximum of 3 drinks in this game. Very helpfully, and I do say this with quite strong sarcasm, Saul has pinged to let us know where the monster is. The sarcasm, of course, being born of the fact that we have just finished a quest with this monster in this location. So it is no mystery to either of us as to where this monster spawns. But anyway, we're getting an around the world at the very beginning of the quest, which is fine by me if he needs to get it off his chest now, but he literally disappeared. What's going on? This guy's doing instant transmission attacks. He's leveled up. He's back with a fucking vengeance, this Rathalos. Now, you come over here. I don't know why you're landing there, mate. This is a scary Rathalos. He's the fucking return. Like, the spirit of the previous Rathalos that we killed is emboldening this one. It's like he's learning. There's a collective consciousness of Rathalos. They get smarter with everyone that dies. battle-hardened. Now get out of the fucking lava so I can hit you. Yeah, Around the World didn't almost do something, it almost annihilated me. Because he was flying off in the distance, literally instant transmissioned behind me, and he was coming in for the attack, like he was out for blood. If you could possibly position yourself in such a way as to allow me to hit you, it would be of real benefit. To me, and to... Is it another Around the World? Or is it you flying away? It's another Around the World, it looks like. Just don't do that thing where you... Ugh, he's done it again. Where is he? It's genuinely terrifying when he fucking does this. Oh my god, where is he? Alright, it's okay. He's just... I feel like he's flying past a point in the map where it looks like he's disappearing, but he's actually gone behind something? I don't know. That's really confusing, and it's scaring me. I do not feel comfortable with him doing that. I've mentioned it before, I'll mention it again. I actually have downloaded something for Freedom 1 that completely fixes the bad input detection. It's really good. It's actually it's made it so that I don't have to play the Japanese version in order to experience a proper button input. So, well, to experience proper button input detection. So, yeah. I don't remember what it's called, but I'd recommend that you get it if you haven't already. Just search it up or something. Why did you start screaming, Rathalos, without actually making the noises visually? Like I didn't see you open your mouth or anything. Anyway, let's not overthink it. He's doing strange things, and we just have to make do. He was just about ready to attack me there, but changed his mind. This is the most unpredictable, uncooperative, and genuinely terrifying Rathalos I've fought in recent years. I don't really know how to approach this one. Probably shouldn't have healed there, that was a good opportunity. Oh no, he's just really slow to descend, so I can still take advantage of it. But yeah, it's really comfortable playing Freedom now. I don't have to press the same button literally 6 times in order to get it to do something, which is really good. Has anyone told you that you're actually much wider than you look? It's just an observation that I'm making in this moment. Why? Did you see how slow the game was running because it hit so many different things, which included a Vespoid? Because, yeah, that's precisely what it was. It hit the Rathalos, hit Saul, and also hit a Vespoid. So it slowed down the game 3 separate times. So, no, don't do that. Stop running away. Hopefully breaking something has possibly reset that desire, or rather, I don't know. Reset that desire. What a strange way to describe that. But yeah, I have a feeling that this weapon's going to be more effective against the Rathalos because it's white sharpness and it's elementally effective. And still got good raw, so... I suspect that this will be a faster hunt. Well, no, it won't be a faster hunt because this Rathalos is fucking around even more than the last one. Which is really unhelpful. Well, that's the extent of the hit lag in this game. It is uncompromising. I don't really want to waste my sharpness on these Bullfango, but it may become necessary. And Rathlos is walking around up there. I'll try to get him on the descent. Could have timed that better, honestly. No, I thought I was positioning myself underneath him. Evidently I was not. Also, anyone watching, I extend an invitation to you to come and play with us. That is if you're at G rank level in Monster Hunter Freedom. I think N10 might be, but anyway. That doesn't mean he has to play. It's an invitation, because it just means that we'll be able to hunt with more people, makes it more fun. I know that some of you do play the older games as well. Some of you watching. Alright, fine. I'll get rid of you. You have presented yourself to me. I will sharpen up once it is convenient to do so. Okay. I actually like that question. Palkia Dialga has asked a good question. He says, do you think this is a good game? Yes, I will elaborate a little bit. I would say that this is a bad game, because, again, like anything, it depends on how you're reaching that conclusion. It depends on what you're comparing it to. You can judge a game purely based on its own merits. You can judge it as if it is sitting in a vacuum. Or, you can judge it comparatively with other games. What I'm going to do is I'm going to judge it alongside its contemporaries, because it's a bit unfair to compare this game to, say, a third-gen game. I'm going to say that this game is a huge downgrade from the... Well, no, again, that really depends on your preference. So if I were to say that this game is a huge downgrade from the PlayStation 2 games, there's an obvious reason why that immediately comes to mind. It's a portable version. You're obviously going to compromise on some things. But again, this game uses the button system to actually interact with the game rather than moving your analog stick around, which a lot of people find to be really tedious and asinine, and probably rightly so. I'm used to it now, and I don't have an issue with it, but this game doesn't have that, so that would actually, even if I were to put forward all of the downsides to this game, some people would say, well, I don't have to use the analog stick, so I'll put up with it. On top of that, it's easier to play online, for instance. Easier to set up, emulated. One of the problems with this game is obviously that input detection, but it's not a problem anymore, because there's something you can download that will fix that. Other examples would be that compared to the PS2 games, there is no city mode or anything like that. There's a whole location that's being cut from the game. I don't think there's as much event quest content as the PS2 games. And then obviously other judgments that I can make about Freedom relate to the generation as a whole. I don't think first generation is that great. It's good, but I would say that the best expression of first generation is definitely those PlayStation 2 games. Playing Monster Hunter 1, I can assure you that if you have become used to old Monster Hunter, like if you have played a lot of second gen and you play Monster Hunter 1, really give it a good try. And obviously familiarize yourself with the rigidity of the game, and then take a moment to step back and look at what you're playing. I think genuinely what you will find is a certain authenticity and beauty that has just never been replicated in another Monster Hunter game. It does feel as if it is an almost perfect crystallization of the spirit of Monster Hunter. You know, they nailed it when it came to the spirit of Monster Hunter, which is a bit of an unclear and insufficiently defined idea, I understand that. But, I mean, I could define it, but that would be... Let's hope that you understand what I mean when I say that. You know, the vision that Capcom had for Monster Hunter and how they translated that into a game. On a conceptual level, I think they did a very good job. But then obviously when it came to actual game design, there were a lot of things that Monster Hunter 1 didn't do well. It was rough around the edges. It almost in some respects didn't feel like a full game. It still felt like a beta version. And yeah, that's a problem. But I suppose what I would say is that there's no simple answer. Do I consider Freedom to be a good game? Compared with its contemporaries, not really, but it is obviously easier to play. And compared to games that came after it, not really, but it does have something there that's unique compared with those games, and if you've played 2nd gen and you're ready to move on to something different that has the same flavor, or has a similar flavor at least, yeah, I'd recommend Freedom. And I would also recommend playing Freedom before touching Monster Hunter 1. You don't have to. I'd say the most essential prerequisite, or the one that I probably wouldn't budge on, would be that you play 2nd gen before playing Monster Hunter 1. I think because you'll be able to ease yourself into it more effectively. I think you're going to be smashing your head against a wall for a longer period, and possibly more painfully, if you go directly from, say, 4th or 3rd gen to Monster Hunter 1. If you ease yourself into it, I think you'll have a much more rewarding experience. You'll get more out of the game. If you go from Freedom 1 to Monster Hunter 1, that's pretty much the same idea multiplied. However, it's going to feel like playing the same game twice, possibly. Are you kicking me for potions? Fuck off and heal yourself. Seriously, man. The solution is to not get hit. Can't believe you just kicked me for a potion. Go to camp, you fuckwit. Read my lips, go to camp. I can't believe it. The nerve of this guy. I think he's gonna die because his cool drink... Well, I don't think he has a cool drink in effect. I'm watching his health slowly decline. Can't believe he just kicked me for a potion. I get that he can't communicate any other way if I don't have the chat up, but god. You know, I'm just trying to play the game. This guy, instead of going to camp, I mean, what an extraordinary individual. Like, what are you doing? Go to camp. I wouldn't even dream of asking for a potion. Maybe I would ask for a potion if I was familiar with the person that I was playing with, like if it was a friend or something. But, you know, if I run out of potions, that's on me. I'm gonna go to camp and keep trying. Especially considering that we're this close to succeeding in the quest. Seriously. But instead, this guy, pig-headedly, is kicking me, and then continuing the fight without a cool drink, and dying. That was almost like a protest death. Like protesting the fact that I'm not giving him handouts. I don't have many potions either. I've got 2 regular potions and 4 mega potions. If you're out, you can go rest at fucking camp. That's the situation. Anyway. Sorry if I don't sound very accommodating to his situation, but, you know, I assess what he's doing based on what I would personally do. And what I would personally do is man up and go to camp. It sucks. It's a bit of a journey, but hey, it gets you full health, and then when you come back, you just do your best not to get hit. And if you do get hit, tough. Take it on the chin, go back to camp. Shouldn't have been using all your potions. Shouldn't have been getting hit so much in the first instance. That's the situation. But anyway. We've had to deal with this Rathalos moving around all over the place. Out of our reach, I might add. So it has dragged on the hunt quite a bit. Ow. There are some things in the chat that I do need to read, but I also have a Rathalos rampaging around. Yeah, well, this is the thing, Beta. And that's sort of what I was getting at when I was talking about the downside to playing Freedom before Monster Hunter 1. In your case, it's the other way around. It does feel like playing the same game. What do you want now? Do you want a cool drink? Or do you want a fucking blowjob? Like, what do you want, mate? What would give you pleasure? I'm already doing this quest for your benefit. Anyway. I don't think this Rathlow's gonna last much longer. But yeah, I understand that, Beta. The fact that you've already played a lot of Monster Hunter 1 would hinder your personal enthusiasm. For fuck's sake. For fuck's sake. Mate. I don't know what I could have done to help you that time around. You just stood there and took it. You were on your hands and knees with your anus spread wide open and you took it. That's what you just did, mate. Unbelievable. Yeah, quest failed indeed. This guy. Oh well. I didn't even realize that he'd died so many times. I hadn't even seen the first death. Ethan's asking what word I use to describe myself with respect to Monster Hunter and the purity of its spirit. I don't know what to describe myself. You mean as a person who values that? Primarily over other things? I don't know. Saul pulled down his pants for that death. Ethan, it doesn't come to mind right now. Was it something that I said in a live stream or in conversation with you? I'm not sure. You know, it wouldn't have been purist. I don't think I would have said I was a purist. It sounds like I used a more nuanced word than that. L? Started with L. I don't know. Because I don't like the word purist. Although it would be. It wouldn't be inappropriate to say purist. Because it suggests that I have this uncompromising preference, which in my case is the spirit of Monster Hunter, and it's something that was seen in the older games that can't be seen anymore, so I guess purist is acceptable. And then you've got elitist, you're gatekeeping. I've got no idea what makes Monster Hunter special, because I just turned up here, but you're gatekeeping my experience. Yeah, that's me. Fucking gatekeeping the shit out of you, man. No, I take no pleasure in maligning 5th gen hunters. I've actually seen, this is a slight aside, the actual palpable insecurity of 5th gen players in a social setting when they're playing older games is profound. Like, they either get ultra defensive when you ask them what their first game was, or they just stay the fuck away from that topic. They actually feel insecure. It shouldn't be like that. And I'm not going to sit here and blame myself or the older community for creating that in them. I would instead say that it's symptomatic of the stupidity of the 5th gen players as a whole. That the ones that have the presence of mind to go back feel represented by a generality of fucking stupid people, and then they feel somewhat diminished by it. It's not, you know, I don't think that it's healthy. I certainly don't cast aspersions upon people just because they started in 5th generation. But you can see the effect that it has on people when they go back. They just feel, again, it's an insecurity that immediately comes out. Probably not with all of them, but, you know, they just feel like they're a lesser person. And maybe some people do treat them that way purely by virtue of the fact that that's where they started, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. I've got no issue if you started in 5th gen, unless you're ignorant. An example of being ignorant is having no desire to see where the series came from, having no desire to venture beyond what you started in. You know, those people are of no use to the community. They're of no use to the series as it continues on, because they can't make an informed decision as to how 5th generation is in relation to where the series has come from. They've got no idea because they haven't experienced it. And they need to experience it to then be able to give constructive feedback to Capcom for the next series. You know, it's just what it is. Those people I really don't like, but the people who actually go back and experience the older games, they don't even have to like them. Just the fact that they have the desire to do that automatically separates them from the people that I really don't have the time of day for in the 5th generation community. That's really all it is. And, you know, I realize that when I speak in general terms about 5th generation people, sometimes they feel offended by it. I've seen it before. They either dislike my video, they come in the chat and say, oh, don't talk to me, or rather, don't refer to me in those terms. What I have to strenuously assure you is that I'm not referring to you. Even if you're watching my live stream, you are not the sort of 5th gen person I'm referring to, because you are involving yourself with the older games. You are informing yourself about the series, rather than remaining willfully and possibly blissfully ignorant of what you're actually playing by exclusively playing 5th gen. Anyway. I'm not too sure what to do for the rest of this live stream. My guess is that I will have to change games. That's not going to require the live stream to go down. But yeah, I've got these 3 people here that are doing, like, low rank stuff. And then there's Saul, who... yeah, I cannot summon the strength to play with him anymore, and he's not here anyway, so I might try a different game. I'll keep this open here while I go and snoop around for other rooms in other games. Freedom Unite's usually a safe bet. Okay. Someone asked if anyone wants to play, and then was immediately given the suggestion to masturbate instead. So that's really good. Let's have a look at the Freedom Unite chat. So we had, who wanna play, with a really big grin, like, big smile. Friendly guy. And the response was, beat meat. Well, nothing is the quest that's just been put in here. Who is this? I don't know who that is. Someone who changes their name, presumably. I see, you did it for friendship points. That was the only reason why you made that quest. I understand. Alrighty. Oh, I can't type. Yeah, Simply Rome says, whenever I encounter someone asking which Monster Hunter game he or she should start from, I will always recommend Freedom Unite. I think that's a really sensible recommendation. It's not just because that's the game I started with, I think that's the most balanced starting point. I personally wish that I'd started in 1st gen, because then I would be able to enjoy 1st gen even more than I do now. But, you know, I'm enjoying it more and more as I continue to play it. But, yeah, I do wish that that was my first experience. But I think that Freedom Unite is not too rigid, but also you can see the progression much more clearly than you would if you started in any other generation except for 1st. So, yeah. Arx seems to want to play, so... oh, sorry, he needs to do his daily Duolingo. Is it that urgent? Fuck, I'm live, man. And you're gonna do your daily Duolingo. Ugh. Incroyable. So, Random hunts. G rank. Hunt or go home. That's what I'm calling. Oh, I understand what's happened. I'm actually registered in some sort of hall. F1, yeah, whatever. Give me a second. I'm going to disconnect from this hall, and I'm actually going to make the title even less friendly than I was going to. Let's, I think because I remapped my buttons, I can't actually press the button that I would usually use to stop the emulation, so let's just do that now. Freedom Unite. It's really that simple. Again, this is one of the benefits to playing on PSP. Now, of course, anyone who comes into the live stream now will be terribly confused. Isn't this freedom? Why is it instead Freedom Unite? What's going on? Well, what's going on is there's no one to play with in Freedom 1. Everyone's sort of weighing in on a few things in the chat. I will read that momentarily. Let me just get that that room organized that I was talking about. All right. CAQ. Hunt or quit game. Hunt the random monster. Big smile. What starts with G that's funny? Goblock. Goblock rank. I like that. Oh god, look who's learning Spanish. I'm not even going to respond to that. It's because there's a whole Freedom Unite channel for the Spanish-speaking people that I'm sure he wants to contribute to. Because he's that passionate about Freedom Unite that he's going to learn Spanish just to continue pursuing his Freedom Unite passion with a different part of the community in Hunsterverse. That's actually quite funny. Anyway, I don't mean to... Yeah, no, I'll leave it at that. What are we going to hunt? Let's check that out first. Those of you who have sent messages in the chat, I will read them soon. I just have to get this organized. Fatalis. Okay. I don't mind doing it if we've got a group. I just don't want to depart with 2 people. I'm sure Arx would do it. I've no doubt that he would be willing to subject himself to that shit, but I don't want to. So... Okay, he's ready to go. Let's just hope that we get a group. And there's a fucking echo in the chat, seemingly. Alrighty. What am I going to equip for Fatalis? Trying to remember. Oh yeah. This. And I won't eat for it because I do want reduced health. So, I mean, someone would say, well, Doomlink, that doesn't mean you have to just not eat at all. You can just eat for stamina. I don't fucking know how to eat for stamina in this game. Leave me alone. I just don't remember. So, that means no food for me. No food for me. Alright, what hall is it in? Let's have a gander. It is in hall 9. I just have it randomly selected. Works better for me. I don't actually have to check to see which hall is free, it'll just put it in an empty hall. So, that's the best way to do it. For those who are unfamiliar with Hunsterverse, you can basically almost put a name on any hall that you want in the Hunsterverse system, which effectively allows you to have an objective in one of the rooms. And, yeah. if you don't actually specify which hall that you want to put it in, it'll... Oh, congratulations. If you don't specify what hall to put it in, it'll just put it in a free hall. So, works for me. Why did I just put away flaming shots? That's a question. Alright, I'll read the comments now. Yeah, Ethan is doing a fresh run of World. I remember him mentioning that. He's taking a mental and emotional inventory of his experience. Been very interesting. Some good and some bad. Yeah, it's not just if Capcom was smart they could make a game that was respectful of the traditional experience. I think they just don't give a shit. I genuinely think they don't care. That much was made really clear with Rise. And I don't think the lack of success with Rise has informed them in the correct way. I think what they see with the lack of success with Rise is something a little different to what you or I might hope they see as a result. I think they're just going to be like, oh, okay, well, we can't do it like that, so we'll just do something different. It doesn't mean they're going to make it anything like what we appreciate. They're just going to try a different tack. I think because they're just so desperate to be progressive with the series, and as I think I've made pretty clear with all of my other explanations about how I feel about the current state of the series, my guess is that Capcom associates old Monster Hunter and that kind of thing with a less successful series. That's never going to happen again. Capcom is never going to make a series that they think will appeal to a small, niche group of players. It's never happening again. Never, never, never. They will always, from now on, with this IP, seek to get the most popular game possible. They will aim for the largest uptake of players, because that's precisely what they got with both World and Rise. So, it's a cynical point of view, but just to reiterate what I just said, they associate old Monster Hunter with failure. I just mean failure in terms of, global uptake. And they've seen huge success with what they've done so far. When it comes to that, they will design the game around the financial aspect. They will be certain to do that going forward. It's not about artistic integrity, I can fucking tell you that. We're not going to witness that going forward. We might, it's technically possible. Oh, Beta's joined us, that's cool. I think we also have a fourth person, I think they were just changing their loadout. Alright, let me get my bombs, wherever they may be. I'll buy them. Small barrel bomb. And Zaraki is using a loadout that I often use. It's just it's basically a rapid bow set with a high raw rapid bow. And I think I need to put my flaming shots back into my inventory. There we go. And I'll bring combination materials for those as well. Fire herbs, and then I think Pierce level 1. I think this gun rapid fires that. Cool. And that hopefully will suffice. It's unlikely to, just because this is going to be a long hunt. So what I will do instead is, well, not instead, but in addition to what I've done, is I will bring normal level 2. And hopefully that will suffice. If it doesn't, then I'll cry. I haven't hunted with Beta on camera in maybe about 2 years in this game, something like that. 2 to 2.5 years, I would guess. I am now embarking on the quest. Beta started in 1st gen and is glad that she did start in 1st gen because she can see that progression that I was talking about. Simply Rome started in Freedom Unite. Yeah. Having played Freedom Unite, he was able to really appreciate the city mode of Monster Hunter 2. Which again is something that was really missing from the portable games. And Beta's dead. It's a nasty start. Alright, so I think it's 1 barrel bomb L plus and 3 small barrel bombs to get me down to adrenaline health. I believe I'm correct in saying that. I'll check game volume. Game volume is fine. This is actually a wounded Fatalis. This is actually my wounded Fatalis. I'm glad that I pursued the one that I posted. Remembering back to the last time I fought Fatalis, it was like a pretty solid hunt. I think it was a good 20 minute, or a rappel. I think it was a rappel, with 3 people, so this one shouldn't take too long to die at all. I have over-prepared, I would say, for this one. I will read what you're saying in a moment, Ethan. Oh, I probably should make sure that I'm in adrenaline damage. Yes, I am. Or adrenaline health, whatever you want to say. Head opportunity. Didn't really get all my damage out there. It is divided across all the rapid fire shots, and I think I only got 3 out of 6, maybe even 2 out of 6. Take that, Rathalos. Rathalos. Fatalis. That's a nasty and terribly deformed Rathalos. Must be because I've just been hunting so many of them. Well, 2, to be exact. Felt like more than 2, though. Yeah, there is a presumption that change is good, but you see, that's society in general, Ethan. I mean, you and I are probably more conservatively minded in the sense that we like to maintain the things that work rather than just have progress for the sake of progress. That's not to say that progress shouldn't be sought, but it is to say that, you know, don't change a good thing just because you think there might be stagnation without change. So, because it's not how it works. I mean, you don't automatically get stagnation when there's no change. In the context of designing a video game, obviously it's important to progress in certain ways, but if you get too excited, if you just throw everything away because you want to just make it a whole new thing, then sometimes you can get rid of something very important, and that's precisely what's happened with Monster Hunter. The only reason why it just didn't immediately turn into a car crash is because so many people were catered for by the change that were not going to be the purist that I describe myself as. Yeah, if we had more modding in the community, that would be pretty good. But I don't think we'd be able to mod our way out of a 5th gen Monster Hunter game. Or mod our way into a more traditional style game by modding a 5th gen game. Or, in this case, a 6th gen game. I say in this case to speak of the current climate, where we have had what seems to be a 6th generation game being announced. Which has a shit name, Wilds. Monster Hunter Wilds. Yeah, man. That's fucking wild, man. Monster Hunter Wilds. It's fucking wild. You know what would be wild? If Capcom could come up with a good fucking name for their next game. I'd love that. And someone's gonna say, oh yeah, like, Monster Hunter 6 would be better. It actually would be. It would be better than Monster Hunter Wilds. So I'm not gonna take that counter-argument. I mean, you can posit that if you'd like, but I'm not going to accept it as legitimate. Yeah. That's interesting. So, in regards to Rocket League, Ethan has actually seen the opposite end of the spectrum, where there's just been zero progress, and it's alienated people. Which is interesting. But, to be honest, we are, in that case, talking about a single game. You know, it's not multiple iterations in a series, which does change things slightly. Not completely, but slightly. Poor baby. We haven't had anyone come into the live stream yet saying, "Where's Freedom? Where's Monster Hunter Freedom 1? False advertising. Clickbait." Of course, that's unlikely to happen anyway. I do realise that. This has happened many times before and I usually don't get that, so I don't know why I'm suggesting that that would happen. Fatalis is weak to fire, yes. His primary weakness is dragon, secondary is fire. And believe it or not, Crimson Fatalis is weak to fire. It's pathetic, but that's old Capcom for you. Well, no, what am I talking about? Capcom has always been fucking bonkers. Just off their heads. But yes, if this were a Crimson Fatalis, you would see me using the same loadout. And it would appear to be totally inappropriate, but there you go. So again, that was a very quick hunt, not because the team is incredibly well organized or really, really good. It's a good team, I'm not going to deny it, but it's because it's already weak. It has been harmed in another quest. So that ended up being pretty good. We don't really want much more Fatalis than that. It's a very repetitive fight. We got it done in less than 10 minutes, rather than us having to sit there doing the same thing for 25 minutes. That's the ideal. It's the ideal result. I'm probably not going to be able to carve everything. I can make an attempt to, though. Yeah, the old Monster Hunter textures are alright, but you know what's a whole lot better? The PlayStation 2 textures. Those are great. You couldn't carve anything off. I actually just missed the... What? I've never encountered that before. Couldn't carve anything off. It's a monster, like, sitting in one place. I didn't even move on that carve zone. I was stationary and crouch carving. What the fuck? Couldn't carve anything off. I actually missed the screenshot. I wanted to screenshot it and then start screaming about it in the chat. Well, I have genuinely never encountered that with this monster. Usually you get that if something has despawned, or if the carve zone is just not quite accessible. In other words, like there might be something physically between you and the carve zone, and you're just on the edge, and the game just doesn't give you the carve, because it thinks that you're not close enough to it. But in that case, no, there was no good reason for that to happen. That's just the game being fucked. Don't apologize for the death. It's Fatalis, it happened. There's not much margin for error. Alright, let's see what our next quest will be. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh yes, of course. You see, it's absolutely impossible for you to kill the Fatalis in less than 20 minutes. Oh, it's just impossible. Seriously, whoever devised... I don't care if it was Zach himself. Whoever devised the cooldown for random hunts should be ashamed of themselves. Fact. I complain about it every time, because every time, it's shit. Do you know why it's shit every time? It's because it's a shit system. Just it naturally manifests itself in that way when you're watching the system in action. It makes itself very clear that it sucks. It's because that's precisely what it is. It sucks. That is its state of existence. It's sucking actively at all times. This looks like a fun quest. Diablos, Copper Blangonga, and Tigrex. I don't even remember this epic hunt. A common weakness? Let's have a look. Yeah, ice. No, Tigrex isn't really weak to ice, I don't think. Well, no, don't join it. I will consult my box for something fun to use. Yeah, Freedom 1's not active enough, Gonzalino. I was able to play with a guy who was honestly a bit of a headache. We did 2 Rathalos quests, and then I had to move to Freedom Unite. But at least I was able to get a little bit of Freedom gameplay out. Alright. I might use something weird. What would be weird? Hunting horn? Yeah, let's do that. I like that idea. Just for the avoidance of doubt, it was my idea. No one suggested it. Yeah, we'll just go with this. And I will eat. That's also a good idea, Doomlink. You're on fire today. My head is being swallowed by this horn. Alrighty. What's up and why it's up? What do you mean? Florin, that's the most interesting riddle that you've ever put in the chat. That's like... Oh yeah, we do need to play some for Ultimate. Here's a deal. If this time of day works for you, Florin, we'll do a For Ultimate live stream together at some point soon. Because this is the time of day when I'm live streaming normally from now on, so yeah, we'll definitely try to do that. It depends on the day. Well, of course, we'll just, you know, depends on your availability, which is obviously fine. We'll make that work. Alright. I will have to double check to see what notes I need to play for the songs, because I'm bloody useless when it comes to this. It's good to see such a good uptake on a Freedom 1 livestream. Got a decent number of viewers. I do apologise to those of you who thought it was going to be Freedom 1. If I could play with people online there, I certainly would. The only people playing at the moment are doing HR2 quests. It doesn't really work for me. Freedom Unite. I really should bookmark it at this point, I use it so often. Hunting Horn song sheet. I just don't use Hunting Horn frequently enough to be able to commit it to memory, you know. Alright. What's this thing called? Divine something or other? Divine It's Divine Ankh Dragonwood Flute. Anyway. Yeah, I really have no business forgetting this. It's the same every time. Like, if you remember the song, doesn't matter what horn you're getting. See, that's how the notes differ from second generation to the later games. It's actually easier to memorize it because if you're playing a specific song, it will always be those notes. Whereas in the later games, it depends on the horn. You can have different notes to perform the same song and get the same effect, depending on what horn you've got, so it makes it harder to memorize it. So really, I have absolutely no business forgetting it. I will do better next time, I assure you. The best thing about it, however, like checking the song sheet, which is what I'm doing now, is to see everything that can be played. Which in the case of this horn is attack up large, infinite stamina large, health max plus 50, wind pressure small, which obviously can then be encored for a better effect, and obviously the standard self-improvement songs. So yeah, that's pretty good. No, I don't, well, today is a day when I'm almost guaranteed to live stream, I will say that, but I do stream during the week as well. Let's do some hunting horn. Hunting horning. That's a great verb. Hunting horning. It's going to be a horny quest. I'm exceptionally funny. I probably made that funny only by dint of my very strange noise that I made. That came from deep within. Must be my, my sexual arousal. Just leaping out of my throat. Alright. Let's do some horning. Hunting horning. No, I really can't. I can't accept that. Wait, no, it does start with purple. Let's do that. What I was trying to get at there was that I can't accept the playing of a song that doesn't benefit the team right now, when, quite frankly, the sooner I get the song out, the better. So we will prioritize that. Don't come for me. We can see that the monster's already poisoned, and now you can see why I have raw resistance on this set. Not all horns will have the ability to resist roars. I'm sure some people probably think of it that way. Why would I have earplugs on a hunting horn set when I can just use a hunting horn that has earplugs? I'm about to drop a massive, like, nugget of knowledge on all of you. You're not always going to be using a horn that has fucking earplugs on it. So, get informed. Get your knowledge right here, right now, fresh from Doomlink. And look at me, I forgot to finish my self-improvement song, so I was bouncing on that head. After my previous mentioning of sexual arousal and then using the phrase bouncing on that head, I must be creating quite a sexually frustrated audience. I apologize, everyone. I'll try to arouse you less. Ow. This is a paralysis hunting horn, yeah. But the value is very low. It's 260. Well, it's not really low, but for the amount, or rather for the DPS that I'm going to get with the horn itself, based on how I personally use the horn, it's very rare that I'm actually going to get a paralysis. The monster's usually dead before I can get it off, because obviously I start the fight by playing my songs, the songs empower the team, and then with that amount of damage, it's usually dead. Of course, in the case of this monster, it is 1 of 3, so it has even less health. So there's almost no way that I'm going to get that paralysis off in this instance. What you doing? You've left the area. Possibly out of deep fear. Well, I'm almost sorry to hear that, N10. That sounds like a terrible condition to be forced to endure. I watched some documentary, like, over 10 years ago about some woman who was just having constant orgasms. That was strange. If you want to watch an interesting documentary, watch that. It's, as strange as it is, it would be a terrible condition to be afflicted by. You wouldn't be able to live a normal life now, would you? Anyway. I do not have Psycho Serum, so I'm not going to be able to see where the next monster spawns, but perhaps, if I can... Oh, the next one's Copperblane Gonga, so... I suppose I'll just assume that Arx knows. This would be a reasonable place for the monster to spawn, so... This works for me. Zaraki's gone all in and has put down a trap, so this must be where the monster spawns. I'm not going to question their wisdom. They play this game more than I do, obviously. At least these days. Yes, Ethan, I watched the documentary about your ex. That's right. It's such an obvious joke, but so good as well. Oh, I quite like that, thank you. Fucking hell. Right, let's get the songs back out. Let's get to the horning. Well, thank you for that. I was actually attempting to assist you with that song. Biting the hand that feeds you, mate. Fucking hell. Get out of there. Ugh. Don't throw your rocks at the guy playing the music. Unless, of course, you're protesting the music. If you don't like it, then that's fine, but... Well, it's actually not fine, because... I've made the executive decision that this music is excellent. And that you're in no position to take issue with it. Oh, I have... timed that poorly. Didn't even get the first note out. Now, I need to double check this. I believe the encore will increase the duration. Just need to make sure though. Because it is possible that I'm just... Oh no, yes, that does extend the duration. Good to know. Now I have to play self-improvement. Again, this monster's going to be dead before I can hit the damn thing. And again, immediately being shown that I should be completing my self-improvement. I need that ESP. I need to become an Esper to be able to hunt this monster. Took me a while to remember what ESP stands for, and then I remembered, oh yeah, Esper. Movement speed up, check it out. I want to get a nice clean hit on your gob. Missed it, but that's alright. That was also a critical hit. Now if I killed him with that shot, I would cream myself. I unreservedly admit that that is precisely what I would do. Like, that's... on camera, it would happen. It would be quicker than Sword and Shield. Self-improvement walking speed with Hunting Horn is slightly slower than non-confrontation run. When I say non-confrontation run, I mean sprinting when you're not running away from a monster. So it's slightly faster than that. Sorry, slightly slower, but considerably faster than... Oh! Jesus. Considerably faster than walking speed. It's very good for positioning. Stupendous for positioning, in fact. But yeah, I've been spending so much time playing my music that I haven't really been able to contribute to the hunt with my weapon directly. And he's dead. It's mega potions, isn't it? I'm so unreasonably skilled that I don't even need potions. Unfortunately, Zaraki, which I believe was his name, possibly a Bleach reference, he has disconnected, so we are now down to 3 people. Which means that my Hunting Horn is therefore slightly less effective, because less people are benefiting from the skill. Why is it cut off at the top? Why is my Hunting Horn cut off at the top? What's going on? It's like a straight line. I've never noticed that before, that actually bothers me. It's literally a perfectly straight line. That looks awful. Ugh. What were they thinking? Too hard to make a round fucking shape? I don't know. PSP graphics. Let's get that stamina loss. This one. There he is. Old mate Tigrex. Arx is apparently quite happy to draw the monster literally to where I'm playing the song, which is unhelpful. We know precisely whom to blame for that. I'm doing my best trying to lend a hand, and Arx is practically trolling me with his positioning. If he had just gone and engaged the monster, I could have continued peacefully playing music. Didn't turn out that way. Movement speed, check that out. Alright, turn around. I'm glad I didn't hit you. Oh no, I did hit you. You just ended up going in a strange direction. And I possibly hit him again? No, I didn't. Okay. Lucky. And there goes my movement speed. I don't think, on this occasion, I need ESP. So I'm cautiously choosing not to play it. That was a little bit early though. Not a great connection. I don't know who would have hosted that. Must be Arx. There's no other explanation, really. Probably shouldn't have done that in case someone was, like Arx for instance, was coming up to hit the monster. Because of the connection, I don't really want to get in there. Feels extra dangerous when the monster's skipping animations, you know. Because that's literally what it is. They're skipping through animations to catch up with the latency, so what that means is that an opportunity that would otherwise be 3.5 seconds ends up being like 2.5 seconds, which increases the chance of you being hit. Again, those numbers were just estimates. It's just an example. I'm trying to illustrate the difficulty of lag when taking the opportunity to hit a monster like this, which is, you have to operate within those windows of opportunity, which are, I would say, quite small compared to other monsters. When you've got an enraged Tigrex, you can't just be there the whole time hitting him, unless you're flinching him a lot. Speed burst has expired. That's an interesting way to describe no stamina loss. Speed burst has expired. Of course, I at first thought they were referring to my... Or the game. Thought the game was referring to my self-improvement, but it wasn't. I don't know why I'm only now realizing this, that they use that term. Just a shit translation, I suppose. It's the best guess that I can make for that. Skipping through animations. But I suppose it does also work on the other side. Sometimes animations can be delayed, which makes it easier to get out of the way, but I find it usually doesn't work out like that. It's usually animation skipping that you have to put up with. Would like to get a KO, but I don't think I've been hitting the head frequently enough to get it off. Whoa! You fucking changed direction. Your direction of travel was not that way. Then you definitely went in that direction, so there you are. Thank you for the gift sub, Ethan. It ended up going to Tifa. Very good. The irony of that, of course, being that the person who has given the most gift subs out of everyone is Tifa. And they seem to know where they're going. I'll follow them. I'm demonstrably inept when it comes to tracking monsters in this game. Okay, so I think we've got full attack boost, so I'll do stamina now. Oh, look who's limping. And look who's going to waste our time by making us pursue him again. After we've just fucking caught up. Possibly a flash bomb. Instead, we've ended up with a paintball, which is not too bad, but that's alright. We didn't need to pursue him in the end. That was good. Nicely done. I need one Mega Potion now. My breathtaking skill with the hunting horn shows that only one Mega Potion is needed for 3 monsters to be killed. Wow. Get on my level. Do people still say that? Probably not. Gommel? I could say Gommel instead. That's slightly more funny. Gommel. Yeah, he does keep his enraged blood effect after death. You can see it flowing through his veins. Look at him. Yeah, hello. I'm trying to inspect the specimen. I'm surveying his honestly quite freaky tenders. Oh, it just went away. Don't you think it's so funny that the cooldown time, or whatever you want to call that, the length of time that he's going to be enraged, is so married to that timer that even in death, it will run until it goes, until, you know, it's not related to the confrontation in any way, because there is no confrontation, the monster's dead. And it just runs out, there you are. If you ever wanted to know how that works. Also, where's my heavenly scale? What's going on? I should be getting a Tigrex heavenly scale. That's supposed to happen every time I fight a Tigrex. He must have felt embarrassed about me looking at his big red veins and didn't want to give me his heavenly scale. It's alright, Tigrex, I don't need them anyway. I think that was unkind of you not to give me that. Oh, Luddite. I didn't really say that I was a Luddite in relation to myself and Monstander. It's more me in general. I like things of the past, and I try to cling on to them as much as I can. Yeah, that's why I didn't catch on. I did not intend to use that. I may have used it to describe that, but sort of in a tongue-in-cheek way, probably. And besides, it's sort of it's a hyperbolic word anyway. It's like calling yourself a hoarder. You're probably not actually a hoarder, that's quite an extreme term. I'm not actually a Luddite, I just have Luddite tendencies. And I do have hoarder tendencies as well. Especially in video games, and especially in Monstander. Alright. Roll, please. Requests arcs. Random hunt. Yes, sir. Operation... excuse me. Operation Tropical Storm. Which is... Plum Daimyo Hermitor, Rathian and Gypsaurus. I'll go raw damage again. Feeling quite parched. I'm gonna have to get some water. And then I'll have a spot of whiskey or something. I've got my favourite Irish whiskey. Managed to get a fucking litre bottle of it. Incredible. Let's go Gunlands. I don't know which one to bring though. They're all elemental except for the popcorn. I suppose that means I'm gonna bring the popcorn? Don't know about that. Let's just do it. Do I have a popcorn specific set? I do. There it is. With no sharpness +1. But... so where does that leave me? That gives me that. It's sort of a Fatalis loadout, as you can see. But, that's alright. I'll just use this. I don't care. Oh, I need to eat first. Let's not forget that my hunter Oh, I have eaten. Okay. Well, it's alright. If I had forgotten, he could have just eaten his weapon. Corn is filling. Especially when it's that big. Like, just one little piece of the corn on the cob is almost the size of your head. Alright. So the plan is I'm going to ready up. Well, actually, I don't know if we've got a fourth person. Perhaps it would be prudent to at least check to see if there's anyone who would like to play. There seems to be... Well, I don't think this is badinage, I think this is an actual argument. You might think, oh, come on, Doomlink, are people actually arguing in this chat? No. Don't underestimate it. Y'all. See, it's impossible to use this word without having an American accent, and this guy would not be American. Well, no, he might be. Just says English speaker. He could actually be American. Y'all. I could say y'all, but then it sounds ridiculous. Y'all only jealous of me. Jealous of your what exactly? Joy face? It's getting serious now. He's used the fucking joy face. My personality, how cool I am, and my ability to not give shit about people. I don't know if we're getting another person. I said one slot for random hunts. Apparently V wanted to play, but he's playing Arc Knights, which is fine. Oh, Quinn's gonna play. Nice. That works out very well. I'm just gonna wait until we're ready to depart. I will then depart, and then I will get some water for my throat, and go to the bathroom, and then I will join in. At which point, one monster will probably already be dead. Oh, here we go. What's this? I could take a piss, go out shopping, go home and cook, eat dinner, and rock my child to sleep, and y'all would still not be prepped for the quest. Now that is badinage. There's no actual argument going on. Quinn is ready. Well, not ready, but he's here, which is good. He's baiting me. The best thing about this, though, is that someone will come in and be like, oh my god, they're arguing! Stop, guys! Alright. So, I'm gonna wait to make sure that I'm not in the area with the monster. Oh, my poor throat. It needs to be lubricated and hydrated. But especially lubricated. Alright. I will be assaulted by a velociprey as I stand here, but... Can't have everything, can you? Alright, I'll be back soon.
I think I'm in trouble.
Can they do it? Can they kill me? Get my controller. Oh, they might do it. Ah! This is very good. This is an excellent contribution to the chat. I really quite like that. Okay, let's... Whoa! Oh, one of them killed it. They're here for the fight. I am still here for the fight, incidentally. The next monster spawns here. I think it's Gypsaurus? Yeah. Well, there you go.
Alright.
I've got my... Well, this has already been sitting here, actually. What I do have... Ugh. Well, you can't quite see it. It's also backwards. It's Paddy. I love this Irish whiskey. It's so good. Got a litre bottle too. Sorry, I'm terribly busy. Alright. I still haven't even finished healing myself. These guys have enjoyed their quests so far without getting blown away, but they're about to experience it with my popcorn gunlands. Is he dead? Probably. Well, Arx insists that he is. Yeah, he's dead. And now for Rathian. I'm really helping in this quest. I'm really contributing. Arx is probably seething. Why isn't he helping? Yeah, see? Look. Bro, you were moving. Nuclear explosion in his brain. Yeah, moved to carve Gypsaros exactly as it died. Remember when I said he was seething? Poor boy. Silly man. You were definitely not contributing intentionally. That's me. That's what I do. You know what I do? I join quests just to have other people do the hunting. That's me. That's exactly what I do. It's so much more fun to not actually play. That's generally the advice that I give to people. It is to, whenever possible, just have other people do the hunting. Like, don't contribute. But yeah. I don't know why that needed to be explained. Again, you know, I moved into carve just as the monster was dead, even though I didn't carve. And, yeah, there you go. The more you know. I'm learning more about myself than I actually expected, because I'm being informed that I'm doing things that I didn't even do. So this is definitely going beyond the realms of what I already knew, and entering into entirely unplumbed depths of stupidity. Yeah, that's the situation. And the quest is over. Are we going to get a protest abandon? Protest abandon? Hmm. Well, I'm all good with mega potions. Don't need those. I might have to make use of a particular picture. Alright, once he does his response, I will... Which is being typed, by the way. I will send him something in return. It's very important. It's the sort of thing that's required to, you know, rekindle the relationship. Oh. I had a little black dot from my green screen that was visible. Terribly annoying once you notice it. You can't unsee it. Oh, we're getting an essay. Here we go. Just thought I'd give him that. Hey, Heavenly Scale. See, you don't actually need to contribute. This is the best strategy. What you do is you get the rares without even having to hunt. It's a fucking no-brainer. Like, why would you play the game when you could just not play the game and get all the rares? For fuck's sake. It's not like I'm a visionary. It's just, you guys are too stupid to think of it yourselves. Seriously. Leech Link. Doom Leech, yes. That's me. Reggie says, I'm available if you want. It was a bit dismissive of me to say, but, you know, I don't even know the guy. Fuck. Anyway, Copper Blangonga is next. Oh, do I not have your guild card, Peter? Maybe it was on an older version of this character, or a previous version. I will send mine in return. Give. And I'll send it to Quinn in case I haven't sent him mine as well. Alrighty. I knew it! Arx is one of those who proudly plays on their phone. Yes. Oh, I am constantly accused of device elitism. Because I poke fun at people who use phones. It's not that I poke fun at people who use phones. I poke fun at people who choose to use a phone instead of a computer to play Monster Hunter. Like, if a computer is an option, they still use a phone. Those people, you actually can't get between me and those people when it comes to poking fun. Because those people are genuinely funny. Like, no joke that I could personally come up with. You could lock me away in a room with all the things that I need, all the essentials, and just leave me to my own devices for 6 months, with my only task being to come up with the funniest joke I could possibly conceive of, and I would not be able to think of something funnier than a person genuinely using a phone to play Monster Hunter instead of a computer. Like, when a computer's an option. Like, they are willfully tapping on a fucking screen to play Monster Hunter instead of using a controller. I mean, I understand you can use a controller with a phone, I get that, but then you have to get your magnifying glass out to be able to see what the fuck you're doing. Anyway, those people, they're really funny. And, yeah. I think I've made my point. Copper Blangonga. Let's use something fun, because we've all obviously already done a Copper Blangonga. This looks like fun. This is literally an armor set that I made just for this weapon, because most of my Blade Master loadouts incorporate Sharpness +1, but this thing has max sharpness, so I actually had to make a set for this. It's an evasion set. That's how little I use evasion. Yeah, here you go. This is exactly what I wanted to hear. Arcs, listen up. This is from Simply Room. I am from the Philippines, and I stopped playing with my friends the moment I found out that they invested in very expensive phones just to play those PSP Monster Hunter games, and even Monster Hunter Double Cross on Citra. Right where it hurts. Right where it hurts. And do you know what's even funnier? The people who don't have a computer, but they've got multiple phones, will use one phone to play Monster Hunter, and then another phone to talk on the chat. There was one guy, hand on heart, that I played with in Hunsterverse. He had 3 phones. 3 phones, but no computer. Need I remind anyone of the system requirements to run PPSSPP? Anyway. They're built different over there, okay? They need to be able to sit on the toilet while they play. That's just what it is. I don't know, maybe it's the diet? Maybe it's the diet! I hadn't even considered that. Shit, what am I talking? Get it? Shit, what am I talking about? Can't believe I hadn't considered that fundamental thing. Something as intrinsic to the culture as diet hadn't even crossed my mind. That might be it. It is to many people, N10. I believe we've got a 4th oh yeah, it's Quinn, that's right. I believe we've got a 4th person. Join. Sorry, Quinn. One thing that I do struggle with sometimes is keeping track of who's in the room. So, if I ever forget you, don't take it personally, it's just that's one thing that when I'm conducting a live stream and playing Monster Hunter, that additional thing, that 3rd thing on that list, which is keeping track of who's in the room with me, is something that I sometimes struggle with. I can see that you did get sniped, I can see that you are no longer sniped, and all is right with the world once again. Dragon Quest Sword stream went. Ethan is essentially revealing that he wants to watch me do this with my Wii remote on camera. I don't know what possibly attracts him about that idea, but yeah, I do need to play Dragon Quest Swords again soon. And if I do play it again, I will do it live. That's something you never hear anymore. That Bill O'Reilly meme saying we'll do it live. That man is such a little insipid fucking insect of a human being, isn't he? Bill O'Reilly, remember him? Fuck. I didn't even live in America, and I actually couldn't stand the man. Although, I have to say, his interviews with Jon Stewart were funny. Watching Bill O'Reilly with Jon Stewart almost made me like him. But then I remembered that he's an absolute irritant. But, yeah. No, I can't stand the guy. Oh no! I've been alerted to the little black pixel. Where is it? Oh, it's... Okay, it's even smaller now. But I get it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I think it's gone? Yeah, I think it's gone. Yeah, it's gone. Now you're going to be squinting trying to find it. Don't harm your own experience by trying to find imperfections. God damn it. No, but thank you for alerting me to that. Look at my fan. So yes, this is actually an evasion set. Doomlink using evasion on camera. Shocking. I can assure you there was a time when I used to use evasion. Just was a long time ago. It's before I was recording Monster Hunter, that's how long ago it was. Almost can't do it anymore, but I'll make attempts to do it. Ah. See, my problem is not that I evade too early, it's that I evade too late and then just take the hit. That's my problem. I'm like watching to see when the thing's coming. I guess it's just bad reaction time. But that's just me. So if I ever, you know, while using evasion +2 end up rolling too early, that's why. It's because I'm worried about not rolling at all. Which is thoroughly unhelpful when you have evasion skills. But anyway. You know, I have evade +2, but I didn't evade at all. Cool. Alright, I'd best get out of here. And heal myself a little bit. Simply Rome is explaining the thing about mobile phones in Southeast Asia, but I'm trying to play the game. Oop. I will read it in a moment. Just one sec. Oh dear. Is he leaving? That looks like a leaving maneuver. It is. It's because here in the Philippines, you don't have that contract where you pay for it monthly. You just buy it from a store for a reasonable price, and then you get one. Sometimes it's not even an original phone. Sometimes it's a garbage copy of, let's just say, Samsung phones. Well, there you are. I think that's an explanation as to why people can have multiple phones, or might have related to something P-Berry said, but anyway. So they basically get a phone outright, and then, what, they don't pay for the running costs of it? I mean, they must. They must have to pay for cellular data. Ah, that's what it is. They probably don't have cellular data, they probably just use Wi-Fi. At home or something. One of the main issues I have with the mobile players is that they are usually connecting to an access point with really bad connection. I mean, there is enough instability with being a phone connection anyway to, say, PPSSPP or OpenVPN, whatever the important one to be connected solidly to is. But they also are connecting to a terrible access point half the time, so yeah. And then my favourite one, I love it. It's that they can't charge the phone and play at the same time. You hear it all the time. Sorry, I have to charge my phone. And then that's the end of the hunt, because they have to charge their phone. It's really funny. Well, it's not funny for the person who only has that option. I don't want to make light of people who can only afford to play on a phone. That's fine. What's not fine is people pretending that that's the best option. That's not fine. That's just sad. I think the kids these days call it cope. Well, that was an excellent evasion. What's going on? I'm being pinged. Oh, I see. The guy who said that he would be able to play at some point has finished playing Arknights and is now checking to see if there's space for him. There sadly is not space for him. That's not to suggest that I am punishing him for choosing to play Arknights instead of play with me. It's more to do with the fact that I have a full team that I don't really want to move on right now. Happy with everyone in the room. I made a little bit of use of my evasion there, but I'm sure I could have made better use of it. There is a huge change in your strategy that you should expect, or that you should seek to implement if you have evasion skills. It has to do with really keeping close to the monster at all times and aiming for the highest DPS possible. It's because you don't have to get away from the monster when it's doing something. You can just roll through the attacks. So ideally, if you magnetize yourself to the monster, that's going to be the most complementary strategy to your evasion skill. I'm not too sure how to feel about this picture. I think we are witnessing furious monkey ejaculation. And I'm just taking it. You know how they say that you shit when you die? Well, apparently monkeys ejaculate. Learning something new every day with Doomlink. Fucking hell. Sword and Shield is nerfed in 2nd gen in the sense that it's not as good as Freedom 1. But Freedom 1 was a glitch. It was not intended to be that strong. I have reason to believe, though, that it's still a little bit weaker than Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter G Sword and Shield. But that might just be a weird bias. And what a load it was, yeah. I actually got showered in it. Alright, what's our next one? Waiting for reroll. Look at this guy. The impatience. I mean, you could just do it if you're that. If you're gonna be, you know, dining inside my anus that aggressively, you could just do it yourself. That's such an obscure phrase, isn't it? Anyway. Random hunt. Oh, I can just do RH. Chrysos is playing, but the room is full, as I said. Wouldn't mind playing with him, but yeah. It's electric with Kid in. Arx is very excited by that one. I'm not. I really could live without it. I have very little warmth for that monster. I do think that Kirin was very well designed in Monster Hunter World. Still very annoying to fight, but very well designed. But, well, they did a pretty good job with Kirin in 4th gen, I do have to admit. Just the attacks that were added onto him. Like the really huge, I guess, horn slam attack that would have a lot of splash damage, and then you also had the sort of turning of the body. He would sort of sway to one side and dig his horn upwards. That was pretty good. But just 1st and 2nd gen Kirin can fuck off. Anyone who takes pleasure in that fight, just, I don't know. Play Roblox or something. Heavy bowgun. Golden Fish Brew. Kirin cheese. It just doesn't seem like the most nutritious meal. Just cheese and fish drink. Apparently that's the ideal combination. What can I say? Hunters are apparently not human, so that just happens to be what's good for them. I wouldn't recommend it. Going into battle and eating cheese and fucking fish drink. I forgot what it's called now. It was a drink in ancient Greece that was effectively a fish drink. I can't remember what it is now. Oh well. But yeah, it was effectively a fish brew. And I think it was pretty strengthening, like it was nutritious in a sense, but anyway. I'm sure it smelled awful though. Now I have to try and work out where the hell my decoration is. My flying jewel. I hate this, I really do. Flying jewel. There you are. Gravius Vest Z. Now that works for me. And then it goes into here. Excellent. There's our set. This is not an anti-Kirin set, it's just something that I can stomach using in conjunction with Kirin, or using against Kirin. Turns out I'm holding up the team. I do apologize for that. I'm terribly sorry. Well, actually, this is a good Kirin area. This isn't actually in an arena. It's in a locale, and I do prefer that. P-Berry, that is far too complicated for the sort of person that Capcom's designing games for. Having 2 separate armor sets? Oh, fuck me. That would be a barrier to entry. Oh, look. Barrier to entry. Okay. Is there anything in the... Forgot my ammunition. Fuck. I don't have any ammunition. I literally can't contribute. I don't know if your clip went through, Samuel. It probably did. I can't imagine it failing in any way. Well, what's the solution? Should we just restart? Yeah, let's restart. I'm sorry, it is entirely my fault. If it were almost anything else, I wouldn't ask for a restart. But I have no ammunition, and I'm not going to try and get Beta's ammunition because she needs that. So, yeah, let's just do that again. I'm sorry. I will pay attention next time. Let me just eat again. Oh, he found out. He's watching the live stream, don't worry. I think we're witnessing post-burst at the moment. Melee gunner. Well, I suppose that's always an option. I wouldn't say that it is against Kirin, though. The whole reason for me using a ranged loadout is so that I can actually hit the damn monster. Alright. Let's try that again. You know, it's possible to forget coatings with a bow, but it's simply not possible to forget ammunition, and literally be standing there with no ammunition. But guess what? We were just talking about... I wasn't properly explaining it for the benefit of the audience, but P-Berry was talking about the fact that gunner armor is no longer present in 5th generation Monster Hunter. Now that is an excellent case for gunner armor, or having a separate gunner pouch. Which I suppose is not, yeah, that's not really part and parcel, is it? The gunner pouch doesn't exist in all games. Well, the good thing about a gunner loadout is that you don't have to worry about constantly having to rearrange things in your inventory. You're always going to have a loadout that, someone's going to say, yeah, but Doomlink, item sets. Okay, I guess I don't have an argument then. Because I was going to say, you don't have to worry about reorganizing your inventory, because if you've got a gunner pouch, you've got your ammunition there already, and then you just have to edit it. But no, item sets. In fact, the advent and implementation of item sets literally made it unnecessary to have a separate pouch. So, yeah, in the context of video games in the series that have item sets, there's no benefit whatsoever to having a gunner pouch. That makes sense. Okay. Yes. As Ethan knows, and I'm sure a lot of you know, I don't really use item sets. However, I do use them for gunner loadouts. I have done that in Generations Ultimate and on Hard. Let's not make the same mistake twice. I'll bring my normal level 2 shots, and I will bring combination materials for them. Alright, let's go. Yeah, we do have a firing squad. Let's do it. Oh, I love that whiskey. It's got a very tasteful sweetness to it. It's not like bourbon or anything like that. It's just a... It's a nice kind of sweet. Bourbon drinkers everywhere will be screaming at my suggestion that it's that bourbon's a bad kind of sweet. Well, I don't have much that I can say about that. Whoa! So the good thing about normal shots is that I can just hip-fire it for the most part. Obviously, when I'm given the opportunity, I will specifically aim for the face, but I can't really do that reliably with this monster moving around so much, so just sort of have to wait for the opportunity to present itself to really aim for the head. This is one such example. But even then, it's quite small. Small window. And Quinn's using the ancient dragonwood heavy bowgun. You almost never see that being used. Oh, did I? Yeah, it is. With the long barrel as well. That's quite novel. Seriously, he's probably the first person I've seen to use that in well over 10 years. Yes, apparently, well, that is true. Kirin's more of a deer. He's got cloven hooves. So, that's interesting. Well, really, this monster is just it's almost like a chimera. It's a unicorn, deer, dragon. Someone's going to say,
Doomlink, the chimera is obviously Teostra.
and I'm going to say in response to that, I'm trying to play the game. Shouldn't be applauding sarcastically. But yeah, the classic Chimera look is obviously what Teostra has, but what I mean is that this monster is sort of a mix of lots of different ideas. Yeah, not just a unicorn thing. But yeah, this is a very unpleasant monster to fight. I'm not sure why people enjoy it. Maybe if you only play one Monster Hunter game, like literally one Monster Hunter game, and you're used to fighting all of the monsters so much that a supremely unpleasant monster like Kirin shows up and you're still excited because it's something you don't hunt as often as everything else. So it actually feels like a bit of variety in a very colourless and monotonous life. But, yeah. That's really the only scenario in which I can imagine a person being excited by Kirin showing up in a list of random quests. Which is obviously heavily biased because maybe some people genuinely enjoy the fight. I don't know. My bias, of course, being that I hate it. And do not have the mental elasticity to be able to actually conceive of a person enjoying the fight, because I feel so strongly in the other direction. But, yeah, it's possible. Some people enjoy Lao Shan Lang. If you can believe it, I know it's hard to believe, but there is probably a majority of people in the Hunsterverse community who prefer Lao Shan Lang to Jen Moran. Seriously. Like, these people actually exist. The funny thing is, if I were to talk to you guys about Lao Shan Lang versus Jen Moran, a fairly unanimous and almost axiomatic verdict would be reached, which is that Lao Shan Lang is not just worse than Jen Moran, he is just not even in the same universe of quality as Jen Moran is as a monster. But then you sort of you peer into this other world called Hunsterverse, where it's as if you're communicating with an alien race, and you ask them, hey, Jen Moran or Lao Shan Lang? And they go, Jen Moran sucks, definitely Lao Shan Lang. And you just sort of, you either cry or you laugh in response. That's really the only two ways you can deal with that. I'm also dead. which might be a form of karma, I don't know. Couldn't be. Couldn't be karma. Oh, keep away from me. I believe I'm taking the fastest route to get there. You can see that I was flirting with the idea of using an ancient potion, but I really don't want to. It obviously increases the chances of me dying a second time if I don't heal myself with it. Or rather get myself back up to 150 health, but I just don't want to use it. This monster's not going to last much longer, so I might just grit my teeth and do my best not to take a hit. See, I don't want to shoot from this distance. It's not going to do any bloody damage. Dangerous. Obviously, evade extender on this heavy bowgun is very helpful. Just allows me to close the distance that much easier. Oh, that's not helpful at all. Teleporting kid in. We must not be that good of a team. I mean, there's 4 of us and the thing's still alive. Ooh. See, it makes me wonder if I'm even making contact with the monster. Because yes, on my screen, I'm able to hit it, but then it just suddenly disappears and is in fact somewhere totally different. So, as I understand it, and this is really nasty, some of you might not be aware of this, and the fact that I'm about to tell you this might actually be detrimental to your ability to enjoy Monster Hunter in multiplayer, but when you're playing the game, at least on the PSP, unless your attack has made contact on the screen of the host, no damage will be dealt. So if you're, say for example, using a heavy bowgun with normal shots on a Kirin that's constantly moving around, and the host has, let's just say, a very different sort of connection than you do. I don't know why I'm euphemizing it in that way. But, yeah, there's every likelihood that a large percentage of your shots never made contact on the host's screen, which means a large percentage of your shots actually never dealt damage, which is terrible to think about, so I try not to. I mean, this should be fine, because the monster's stationary. It's just when he's moving around, it becomes a bit more problematic. A bit more likely that you're not going to deal your damage. Oh! That was a little bit dangerous, but he's dead, and that's the main thing. We didn't break the horn, unfortunately. And in true 2nd gen style, we only get 2 cards. From an Elder Dragon. Thank you. Here we go. I die a little inside every time you flinch, Kirin, instead of staggering it. And that's all. Nice work though. Didn't take that long. But really, if you've got 4 people, it shouldn't take 10 minutes. Hold on, this is important. Yeah, stagger with longsword. That works very well, I hear. It's the best way to stagger teammates as well. It's really good for that. Still got some azure horns despite not actually breaking the head, which is good. I think that's uncharacteristically generous of Capcom to actually give you just quest rewards or kill rewards without needing to break the actual part. Alrighty. We shall roll another hunt. Without having caps lock on. Not that it would make a huge difference. This is quite extraordinary. Super Hypnocatrice Brawl. I remember doing this quest, and I remember being really, really disappointed, because it almost felt like a standard double Hypnoc quest. The idea of it is to have an arena hunt where you're fighting 2 Hypnoc simultaneously that are stronger than the standard one. It's understandable because the double Hypnoc quest of G rank is the urgent quest into G rank. It's very easy, but I can tell you this is not really noticeably more difficult. This still is a really easy quest. We'll do it, I don't mind. And apparently Arx has quite romantic feelings towards this quest. Who knows, but yeah, we're gonna do it. And we've got a sniper. Raphael H. It was very important that he included his second initial there. Yeah, you can actually, yes, Beta, you can play online on your Wii in Monster Hunter Tri, but I think it will require homebrewing. But yeah, if you, for example, didn't want to port your save over to PC, you could just play on your original hardware. I'm not sure what the process is like. It shouldn't be too hard. I think one of the things that is truly remarkable about the work that the Monster Hunter Tri online team have done is creating a system that is so easy to get working that it really opens the door to everyone to be able to play. There's no grueling process that you have to undertake to get it to work. It just works. It might take a little bit more time to make it work on actual hardware, but if getting it to work on PC is any indication, it should be pretty simple. So, yeah. Might go dual blades. Punishment blades. What a shit name. That must be just a terrible translation. Punishment blades. I mean, what's a better synonym of punishment? There's so many synonyms of punishment. Oh my god, I just had so many enter my head. Well, I remember randomly going through them all off the top of my head once, but yeah. Reprimand blade. No, I think punishment, and none of them are good, honestly, the synonyms of punishment. Look, Beta, if you type into Google, it's all Discord focused, I think. If you join a specific server on Discord, you know what I'll do? I will send you an invite link to the Discord. And then all the information that you need to get Tri working will be on that server. So, let me do that now. Create invite, copy, and then I will find you in the chat on Discord. Ended up getting Benja Stark instead of Beta Star. Oh Christ, I'll just get you on my server. Beta, there you are. Message. Once I can fucking Work out how to use Discord. There you go, message beta. Discord link, done. So join that and all the resources you need will be there. And yeah, maybe we can play try together. That'd be great. Let's put this stuff away. Don't need any of that. And let's beat on some Hypno. Like, really beat on them. They're not hard, they're not strong, they're almost the same as the other quest. Oh yeah, 3 Ultimate is an essential game. Any person who considers themselves a Monster Hunter fan who hasn't played 3 Ultimate has to understand that they're really missing out. They're majorly missing out. There's a lot of things wrong with it, but there are a lot of things that they got right. My favorite generation is 3rd, and, you know, it was just when so many things were coming together in one game, and it felt like the best balance of Monster Hunter. And in my opinion, 3 Ultimate is the best game of the best generation, so I guess by extension it's my favorite game, and perhaps the game that I would contend to be the best. But when I hear those words coming out of my mouth, id est, Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate is the best Monster Hunter game, it just doesn't sound right, and I think the reason why is because there's so many games that are really good in the series, and those games are bad for certain reasons and good for other reasons as well, but it just doesn't feel right to choose the best one. And it also feels truly wrong and borderline blasphemous to say that the best Monster Hunter game is the game that has an unchanging charm table system where you can actually end up with a cursed table if you don't know how to get a good one. And that's just really quite sad. There is no forgiveness for Capcom for doing that. I still don't know if it was a glitch or not, but the fact that it happened at all is just pathetic. The Hypnoc just got put to sleep by the other Hypnoc, I think. I believe that's what I just witnessed. And that's really funny. You'd think that they would have better resistance. One of them's already dead. I mean, could you imagine bringing poison, which by the way is very, very strong, in this game, to a quest that's already going to end really quickly? I don't get it. But I'm also not Arx, so cannot get into his head, really. I suppose no matter what, they're going to die quickly, so it doesn't matter at the end of the day. I'm kicking around with blue sharpness now, but again, very simple quest, so yeah. I sound like I have a lisp, but no, I just have an ulcer on my tongue, and it got between my teeth, and what a great visual. But yes, like literally, it prevented the full movement of my mouth to form the word that I was saying. But yeah, I can't even remember what I was saying now. I'm just so distracted by the fact that I'm talking about my ulcer on my tongue during my live stream. But yeah. Oh yes, that's what I was saying. It's such a basic quest that I don't really need to worry about having a suboptimal sharpness level on my dual blade. Speaking of suboptimal sharpness level, we are well and truly at that point. No, it doesn't really matter. What's this quest called again? Something like Super Hypnoc? Something or other? It's not very super, is it? I'm not feeling like there is a super confrontation going on. It doesn't feel special. I think whoever made this quest should try a little harder. I believe this is official DLC from Japan, by the way. So, yeah, whoever did it, Try a little harder. Bit late to suggest that they do that, though. Yeah, I would say that Freedom Unite, 3 Ultimate, and 4 Ultimate are probably the top 3 games. I have a very, very soft spot for Monster Hunter 1 as well, after having played it. I would happily create a top 4 that includes Monster Hunter 1, and have those top 4 be interchangeable, depending on what you choose to value, and what you choose to focus on. In terms of quality, that's probably the best way that I can distill what I'm thinking in my head. It is by saying that they are of equal quality, but what makes them good changes depending on the game. And each of them has a drawback, sometimes several and very glaring drawbacks. But Monster Hunter is an imperfect series. It really is. It's just the definition of an imperfect series. I don't know if that's just because I play so much of it, and I play so many different games, that I can see all of the shortcomings more clearly than perhaps a person who doesn't play it as much, or is more casual in their play. But for me personally, I see so much imperfection that, yeah, it feels like a uniquely imperfect series, in the sense that so much is done well, and uniquely well, but there's also so much that's done, in some cases, terribly wrong. But, yeah. That's the series. Whoops, sorry. RH. Random Hunt. It is Magazine Tigrex. Alright. Strategy is as follows. Don't get hit. Yeah. No, thanks for picking me up on that, Gonzalino. I would amend that to say Monster Hunter G, rather than Monster Hunter 1. So yeah, Monster Hunter G, 4 Ultimate, 3 Ultimate, and Freedom Unite. Obviously not in chronological order, because that's not chronologically correct, what I just said, but yeah. I would encourage any person to familiarize themselves with first generation enough to then play Monster Hunter 1 and G, just to really experience something unique and special. Those games are really good. They're very, very well done, in a certain way. Very rough around the edges, depending on what you're focusing on. But if you're looking for authenticity of almost stylistic design, or at least a strength of vision, like a conceptual vision being followed through very honestly and authentically, that's what those games are. Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter G. They're almost innocent. It's weird. There's an innocence to those games. It's as if they exist in spite of the constraints that are placed upon a game designer. The result, of course, being that it's a rough game. Like, it's not well designed as a video game in so many ways, but then in others it's just brilliant. It feels amazing. But the only way that you can experience that is to literally dull your senses. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it's objectively good. I think the only way to enjoy it is to become so desensitized to the things that make you want to pull your hair out, because they either don't make sense, or because they're just so terribly designed, that to actually, you just have to scrape away at the shit until you see the diamond underneath. So, yeah, it's not easy. But in my experience, and I wasn't expecting to feel this way about it many, many years ago, but yeah, it's a very special game. What's a good loadout for this quest? I'm going to go to Sword and Shield. I will bring Thunder Sword and Shield. I just want mobility. That's important. Well, I suppose I can't speak to DOS because I haven't played it as much. I mean, DOS is... I don't think DOS is as good as people make it out to be. I think DOS was extremely ambitious to its detriment. It feels very disjointed. There's too much going on. I don't think they've... Like, there is a reason why DOS was not the blueprint for the future of Monster Hunter. There's a reason why they diverged from that. It's because there's just too much going on, and I don't think that it links together cohesively. I think it's interesting, like it's novel. When you play it, it feels like just a crazy out-of-this-world version of Monster Hunter that doesn't exist anywhere else, but I don't think there's much benefit to it. I feel like I'm clear-headed enough and that I've played enough other Monster Hunter games that I can say pretty definitively that they don't link it very well. It's not a cohesively woven picture. It's just a bit all over the place. And very quirky, in a lot of senses a good way, but it's, you know, it's fucked in a lot of ways as well. I don't know. That's my impression of the game. It might change if I play a lot of it. Like, maybe I will understand it if I play a lot of it, but I feel like there's a reason why they didn't continue in that direction, and my impression of it at this stage works with that. It is that they just couldn't work out how to make all of that fit into the right box. Like, they couldn't just... Okay, imagine you've got all of these things and you're trying to cram it into the box, and then you put the lid down and it's just not... It's not closing properly. The lid's not fucking closing. I think they just weren't able to figure out how to put it in that box while having the lid cleanly closed. And so they just took things out of the box so that they could close the lid properly. That's the analogy I'm going with. And that's what I feel when I play that game. It feels like things have been crammed into the box and the lid's not closing properly. So... And I still think it's a great game. I think DOS is awesome. But I think people have been very quick to sing its praises. We've already had a death, by the way. Not a great start. He does have a lot of health, so we'll have to survive. That's an important aspect to this. I don't like my DPS at all. I'm really disliking my DPS. I feel like I can't get in there and really deal lots of hits before the monster can actually... before the monster moves. It's really quite a... 2 deaths. This is not going to work. Okay, there you go. Magazine Tigrex. Arcs is that... can't remember. There's like a meme that I saw where it's just a face, but there's like... there's been 2 lines drawn to make the face angry. That's Arcs now. He's now got 2 lines drawn on his face to make an angry face. So... I'm happy to try that again. It's quite common that you'll have like the first attempt be really awful and then the second one can be really successful. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen this time, we'll see. But, yeah. I'd say it's worth another try. And I might not use Sword and Shield, I might use a ranged loadout. Just because the DPS of that strategy just feels so terrible. I feel almost impotent. Unable to really contribute. Yeah, this is a super quest. As opposed to that fucking Hypnol. Alright. I'll go ranged, probably bow. Do I have Rapid Thunder? Like a decent Rapid Thunder bow. It's like the Sonic Bow G, isn't it? Is that Rapid Thunder? It is. Okay, let's go with that. Now, Sonic Bow G isn't like an extraordinarily strong bow, but I just feel like I'm going to be able to contribute more with this. I might go and get some honey while I'm thinking of it. Oh my god. We have inspired Arx to go and solo the monster. So he has left us. Good on him. Let's try to bring Chrysos in. Oh, I'll just add another thing too. Alrighty. I'll get some honey, and I think Chrysos can join. Let's see. Oh, he says I'm dumb. Well, you're not that dumb. Maybe you didn't know that I was not in the hall. But yeah, you can just... Anyway, doesn't matter. So yeah, we'll give Magazine Tigrex one more try, just because I feel like we need to at least have a second attempt, considering that we failed so quickly. And then we can move on to another thing. Yes, as Simply Rome said, Reckless Abandon is Critical Eye. It's a pretty stupid translation. I don't know, it might be a good translation. I think, yeah, I really should be cautious in describing the translation of First Gen Monster Hunter as anything bad or stupid or unreasonable. It's literal. It's a lot more literal. There is less creative license. Third Gen had a really good translation in a lot of ways, and that continued on into 4th generation, but a lot more creative license, nowhere near as literal. And to be honest, that's probably important. I think that's probably the best way to get a good translation, because it's not like we're sitting here playing the game in English and comparing it, right? We're not comparing it to the Japanese version, so it almost doesn't matter what the Japanese version is, as long as it's not diverging to the point of being something totally different or detracting from the original content. It needs to be accurate, but it doesn't have to be literal. So, yeah, it's both a bad translation and a good translation, in a weird way. The one that we're seeing now. Yes, and then Generations Ultimate gave us Times Used. Just a delightful little translation, which I keep forgetting is in. I keep forgetting what it's intended to mean. Yeah, I don't know. Very good, Peaberry. I almost forgot. I'm glad that you're in my corner and reminding me of things that, quite frankly, I shouldn't need reminding about. Oh, my throat is terribly parched. Fuck, I almost need to let the water just soak in for a moment. I don't know if you've experienced it where just your throat feels so dry. I get it occasionally when I'm live streaming. But, yeah. Very colourful bow, isn't it? We've got a pitfall trap down. I very much like that idea. And if he's not enraged, it'll last longer. So I'm glad we got that down right at the start. I might try to chain into a shock trap. See, it lasts a long time when he's not enraged, hey. I really should have gotten more hits out. I only tried chaining as soon as I did because I wasn't expecting it to last that long. He's not quite going in the direction that I wanted him to go, but... there we go. Now, shock traps are really good for getting the head, because the head largely stays in one position. Not good. It was terribly dangerous. I'm trying to get under the wing there. It's almost working. I'm getting his armpit. Secret Tigrex weak point. Ugh, that was scary. Flash bombing Tigrex is sometimes beneficial. It's very beneficial if you're going ranged, that's for sure. Might just do it. Here you go, that's a good time. Right when he's being flinched. It happened again. My tongue ulcer. Giving me, or making it appear as if I have some kind of speech impediment. It's the most curious state of affairs, really. To have an ulcer on the side of your tongue that sometimes gets caught on your teeth and therefore prevents you from fully pronouncing certain words. It's actually absurd when you think about it. Anyway. What I can say, with some considerable confidence, is that we're doing a lot better now than we were before. Danger zone. I'm glad I can take a hit. That's what I can say. If I couldn't take a hit, that would make this much harder. Beta's down, sadly. Ethan, your contributions in the chat are terribly distracting. I think we got a pocket message there. 2 pocket messages, in fact. What does make this monster harder is the size of him. He's guaranteed to be a large one, as you can see, and it just means that he's got more reach with everything that he does. Good flinch. It's obviously dangerous to stand right here, but you're getting hits on the head, and that's quite important. Uh-oh. Quinn, you're gonna die. He managed to shield it, which is very good. It's one of those moments where you've just got so much of an opportunity to heal the person, but then you don't have any life powders, so you can't heal them, quite obviously. Would like to get him stuck in the wall again, really. Might aim for the legs, try to get a knockdown. And that probably is the best strategy. When you can't hit the head, aim for the legs to hope for a knockdown. Yeah, flashing when you're a Blade Master user, a little bit less helpful. As you can see, it gets really dangerous sometimes. Bit too far away for my stamina. Ugh. No. Sadly didn't get it. It was a bit overzealous of me to go for it though. Now I did press the button almost at the precise time that I took a hit, but sadly, if you're too late it just means you take the hit. That's what happens. He fucking slid into me. He landed and then slid into me because he made contact with the wall which pushed him to the side. For fuck's sake, man. I can't really guard against that. Because when he jumps without warning from that distance, and I'm in the middle of trying to heal myself. Yeah, that's quite nasty, but fine. I think we're doing quite well. So really, it's just about surviving. We need to try and at least somewhat maintain the damage we've been dealing, but most importantly, survive. That's the big thing. You can see that with the amount of healing I've had to do... Oh, well, sorry. I couldn't sheathe in time. Not when he chooses to go for me immediately like that. Oh well. I think we did much better that time. We'll just do something different. I feel like we might have just been lacking a little bit of damage. Could be my fault, using a bow. But yeah. We will roll for a different quest, and that will be my last one. Pink Rathian, Red Kezu, and Gravios. Fire, electricity, heat ray. Heat ray? Maybe not heat, but instead fucking fire laser beam? Excuse me. I guess they already said fire, didn't they? But if you imagine the massive fucking laser that a Gravios shoots out, and then couple that with the phrase heat ray, do you think that's aptly descriptive? I don't think I really need to comment further. Well, I hope the green screen's working okay. You can see the lighting is so much better right now, but I also need to check to see if the green screen's working. Like, this is great. Like, what you're seeing right now, in terms of lighting, not so much camera position, but in terms of lighting, this is perfect. Like, it's really balanced, really smooth, nice filtered light. Like, I'm actually better illuminated now than I usually am, because the light's almost straight on, rather than coming down from the top. But it's not always going to be like this when you're using natural light. Okay, the chroma key's still alright for the most part, so I think. Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, very good. What weapon should I use? Let's go to the kitchen first. So it's Pink Rathian, Red Kezu, and Gravios. I think I'm going to bring water. I don't think water's very good against Pink Rathian, but it's good for the other monsters. Fire, electricity, fire. I could always bring... In fact, I like that idea. I'm going to bring this. And that way I can shoot water and thunder. Excellent idea. No, so red kazoo is weak to water primarily. That's why it's actually a decent subspecies. As opposed to just a pointless color change. Like some subspecies I know. Looking at you, green Nagakuga, you piece of absolute worthless shit. What is it? It's G3 star. Fire, electricity, heat ray. Heat ray is such an odd one out. Anyway. Heat ray. Fire, electricity, heat ray. We couldn't think of anything better, sorry. Alright. No, not flaming shots. Water. Thunder. And I will bring... Pierce level 1, much like the other bowgun that I was using before. This one, rapid fires Pierce level 1. Not... yeah. That would have been the last bowgun I was using. The... what's it called? The engraved fire wyvern bowgun or something, I think it's called. Anyway. I'll bring combination materials for water shots. I don't think it will be necessary to bring thunder combination. I'm going to say not. So, that's mainly because I don't have much space. So, knife mackerel wherever you are. There you are. Okay. Looking good. To go through the set, we've got reloading speed +2 because this bow reloads really slowly. Capacity up, that's load up. Defense +20. If I have to explain that, then you should probably, I don't know, live life a little longer and try to pick up more information as you go. And then element attack up, also fairly self-explanatory. It's my elemental light bowgun set. No more whiskey. Meanwhile, I've got a whole bottle. But, well, not a whole bottle, half of a litre. Which is a decent amount. What I will do is go over here, and then I shall visit the bathroom one more time. Because I'm consuming liquid. It necessitates the expulsion of said liquid. I will be back in a moment. I return. Oh, look how good that lighting is. It's so nice. Don't you wish it could be like this all the time? Like if I could, because what it is it's perfectly natural lighting. It's not studio lighting, it's not room lighting like standard room lighting. It's literally just filtered light. I love it. It's so good. Because it's just so balanced and so crisp and clean and which is possibly the best way that I could consider describing that. Spot of whiskey. Yeah, no tiny monsters to beat me up this time. He says before he's even had a drink. Smacking my lips in anticipation. Let's contribute now. Actually, we are starting with Pink Rathian, so I will bring my Thundershots. Well, not bring, but rather load my Thundershots into the chamber of my gun. Oh dear, she looks like she's having a terrible time. I don't bring this set out nearly enough. Ah, well fuck, why did I even bring Thundershots? Really? I almost feel bad that I basically did nothing. This is Mega Potions, isn't it? Yes. Alright, next monster is Red Kezu. I think I know where he spawns. He's either going to spawn in the lower cave, or he's going to fly down just in front of it. At this stage, I'm not too sure. So yeah, he's either going to spawn here or in the cave. My guess at this time, at this stage, is that he's going to fly down here. Anyone who has a better idea of that, please go to where you think the monster's going to spawn. Yeah, the big donut, that's right. That's exactly right. So he either spawns here, or in the big donut. Quinn is nodding, so I suppose he agrees that this is the spawn point. I should have actually paintballed the Rathian so that we would know when Rathian despawns. It's no good use having good ideas when you were so late in having them that they really make no difference to your experience. Alright, melee time. Yeah, it looks like he's in the big donut. I agree with Quinn, who has registered his belief that the monster is over here simply by moving in that direction. Here we go. Oh, dangerous business. Oh, that's a fucking sausage if I've ever seen one. That was a red rocket rocketing towards me. And for anyone who says in response to that, thanks for that visual, Doomlink, I don't really need to assist with that, you just witnessed it yourself. Nope. Now, obviously, we want to keep well away from the wings. That's as long as you're not hitting the wings, you're doing the right thing when it comes to Kezu. The wings are just a terrible hit zone. Obviously, the face is ideal, but you can't always be hit in the face. And we're getting the stare. And we now have the dead Kezu. It just gets better and better. Done it. Knife mackerel. Apparently, shockingly, 3 combo books is not enough to get 100% combination chance on water shots. Why? That doesn't make any sense. Are they really that hard to make? I mean, admittedly, you're squishing together a fucking fish and some kind of berry. Fish plus berry. Here we go. I've got a bullet now. Anyway, what's the next monster? Tis Gravios. I don't actually know where the fuck he spawns, but it'll be funny watching him fly in. Possibly here. Quinn reckons over there, possibly. His confusion is demonstrated by the fact that he just did a full revolution. But anyway. Where is he? There he is. I thought I saw him, but no, I was actually looking at foliage. Very low resolution foliage. One of those rare moments that you can watch a Gravios fly as if it makes any sense for a monster like that to fly. As if it could, in any universe, be possible for a monster of that kind of size and weight to be able to lift itself off the ground with wings like those. Yeah, I wonder why they didn't put Black Gravios in this quest. Maybe there's an unspoken rule that there cannot actually be Black Gravios in the swamp, I don't know. Because I've never seen a Black Gravios in the swamp. Not in this game. Well, specifically first gen swamp, I mean. I think there's a Black Gravios quest in the second gen swamp in a village quest. If I'm remembering that correctly, then I deserve a pat on the back, to be honest. But, yeah. Here we go. Go away! I'm not wasting elemental shots on you. I must confess. You poor bastard. Talk about a beatdown. I mean, I understand that he's one of 3 monsters, so he has reduced health, but that was a beatdown. If he had full health, he wouldn't have lasted much longer than that. Very well done. And I didn't need a card. But I did anyway. Are we the bad guys? Well, yeah. He was just flying down, minding his own business. Thought, oh, I might stomp around the swamp a bit today. And then we fucking decimated him. Erased his life from the face of the planet. Yeah, the paralysis definitely did it. Very nicely done. Let's see what the rewards are like. They should be pretty good. Almost fucking skipped them by pressing the wrong button. All that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude the live stream. I do hope you all enjoyed. I am happy to be visually here again for all of you. Next time I go live, it should be under more controlled conditions. Again, as much as I like the lighting right now, that's only when the stars align, so to speak. So, yeah, I do expect that next time I'm live, it will be more controlled and consistent, most importantly, and the camera position will be better too. So, I will see you when I'm next live. Would have liked to have done a full live stream in Monster Hunter Freedom, but this turned out well either way. It was a nice long stream, 3 hours and 25 minutes, almost. But yeah, I will see you next time I'm live, and Stay safe, I guess. Travel well. See you next time.